If you're watching this video, it's very clear that you probably have a really big interest in Toronto real estate. I mean, if you live in Toronto, who wouldn't, right? It's really interesting as somebody who likes to observe the market or as a participant in the market, especially over the last few years, as to how the market is performing right now relative to past narrations specific to affordability. In the past, when talking about affordability of Toronto real estate, which is always a hot button topic, many things we've heard before are, well, foreign buyers are definitely to blame for all of the rise in real estate prices in Toronto. We're the most multicultural city in the world, so clearly it has to be other people's fault. Or maybe look at all those condo buildings. They're all empty, right? No one's living in there. There must be some evil investors just sitting on all of these empty condo units and houses in Rosedale. And well, maybe it's investors, because investors are just snapping up real estate here in Toronto, and it's all the people with money, and they're just trying to take advantage of the people who don't have money. Or maybe it's interest rates, and maybe it's because, well, interest rates are really low, and once they go up, everyone's going to be screwed. Well, let's look at what's happened over the last few years, or more specifically, over the last 6 months. We have a foreign buyers ban, which was implemented January 1. I don't think that's really had much of an impact on real estate prices, at least here in Toronto. We have a empty home tax now, and that really doesn't seem to be helping very much of anything except creating a lot of confusion and paperwork. We have a climate where it's a lot more challenging as an investor, A, to get a mortgage, and B, more specifically, to have a property make sense given how high interest rates are relative to rents and cash flow. So it can't be investors. And while interest rates, we all know what's happened there. We're over 400 basis point increase in under a year. It can't be cheap money. It can't be investors driving all these prices up. It can't be all these empty homes that are just taking up inventory. And it can't be these evil, horrible foreign buyers, because if that were the case, then why are prices going up and going up significantly month over month here in Toronto? Well, that's a great question, and that's something we're going to explore in today's video. My name is Ralph Fox, and I am the co-founder and broker of record of Fox Marin Associates. And we are a downtown real estate brokerage that focuses on downtown and central Toronto. While real estate by nature is hyperlocal, the purpose of this playlist is to discuss economic and geopolitical events and macro trends that could shape the future of Toronto real estate. So if you'd like to keep abreast of what's happening in the Toronto real estate and what might be around the corner, please be sure to smash that subscribe button down below. Okay, so let's get into it. The CMHC, I always struggle with that, the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, predicts that home building could plunge by 32% this year, calling this a very alarming situation. The chief economist of the CMHC went on to say that the climate is inhospitable for new construction. And he said it's basically a call to arm to boost home building, and warned that this is dramatically going to have an impact on affordability. Well, duh. The rising cost of building materials, a shortage of construction workers, higher interest rates means that housing starts could drop by as much as 19% year over year. Furthermore, if inflation persists and interest rates remain high for longer than we expect, housing starts could drop by as much as 32%. So this really could have a really big impact on the future of Toronto real estate prices, because as we all know, we're already dramatically constrained on inventory. Current inventory levels are about 1.32 months, and low-rise houses are well under the 1 month mark, which is really, really significant. The C.D. Howe Institute, which is a think tank, came out with a report recently, and they talked about the cumulative impact of barriers on construction being staggering. And when they talk about that, they're talking about government regulations and other market dysfunctions, which can drive a wedge between what it costs to build and the actual marketplace. And in Toronto, they adjust for about $350,000 extra costs to a builder when building the average home here in Toronto. So this is really, really significant, because now not only are we in an environment where we're just not building enough inventory. And it looks like going forward in the future, we're going to be facing even more headwinds. We're also in a situation where the cost to build for developers is as high as 25 to 30% on the average home just to bring a property to market. And of course, those costs have to get passed down to the purchaser or investor or consumer, further making real estate more expensive here in Toronto. The real answer to affordability, as we've seen over the last 3 or 4 months, almost like in a case study, is it's not banning foreign home buyers. It's not empty households here in Toronto. It's not evil investors. And it's not high interest rates. The bottom line is, and we've said this on so many videos in the past and in millions of conversations with clients and investors, the real issue is supply. And until we can find sustainable long-term way to open up supply here in Toronto, we're going to continue to face an affordability crisis. And while it's difficult to predict over the next 3 or 6 months what's going to happen in the market, over the long term, if you just look at basic supply and demand functions, Toronto real estate has no choice over the long term but to continue to rise. I hope you find this information helpful. There's a lot more that we can unpack on this discussion, and we will on videos going forward. But if you have any questions or comments, we would absolutely love to hear from you down below. And please make sure to smash that subscribe button. I'll never get tired of saying that.